Good evening, Papua New Guinea, and welcome to another episode of Sports In. As always, it's great to have your company. Joining me on the set tonight is lovely Miss Dini Rose Raiko.
Thank you, Shane, for having me on Sports In.
And Jeremy Morgi.
Thanks, Shane. Been a while, but great to be here.
All right, Jeremy, you've been absent on the program for quite a while now. You've been with Football First.
Yeah, 2016 was a fantastic year for us on that program, but it's a new year, new look, new things to expect for 2017.
All right, good. Now, let's take a look at what's coming up tonight.
Finally, as Minister...
Coming up on the show tonight, we take a look at the 7 PNG Games deferral.
I'm very disappointed.
Jeremy chats with the sports journals on the current trending issue.
Football in Papua New Guinea.
Mediate between both parties. Survival of the organization.
Between PNGFA and Hikari boss John Kapi Nato.
We will pursue this.
SAPNG received support from corporate houses for the staging of the World Surf League 2017 Longboard Championship.
We are there. We think it's a great sport.
VAR recruits new paddlers and more. All right, before all that, let's take a look at our weekend sports brief.
On tonight's Sports Brief, the Marane Stonevilles saw fit to sabotage the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup Southern Region playoffs yesterday by having a sit-in protest on Kona Tigers Oval after they lost their playoff 14-12 to QPR Wanderers. Let's keep our fingers crossed the finals will eventuate this weekend. To hockey, the NCD women's hockey team welcomes the third deferral of the PNG Games, simply put a blessing in disguise. Coach Paula Naran said this gives the team more time to gear up for the games.
We'll be grateful that the games have been deferred. With our competition coming, that is an added bonus for us with the teams combining together. After the games on the pitch, we will be out on the grass playing. So it gives them an added boost with that extended time.
The CPL PNG lowest losing streak continues with a 7-runs loss to Scotland on Saturday. In the previous meet with Bangladesh, they lost by 97 runs. Hopefully, our ladies redeem themselves tonight in the final qualifying match against the most threatening opponent, South Africa. And finally, a great crowd turnout at the Amini Park for the PIH Corporate Indoor Cricket. With the final scheduled for this weekend, Amini Park will most likely be jam-packed. To overseas sports, in the Indigenous All-Stars vs World All-Stars clash, the Indigenous side led by Jonathan Thurston defeated the Malmaninga coach side, the World All-Stars, last Friday in Newcastle with 34 points to 8.
As you mentioned in the weekend briefs about the CPL Lewis, how are they doing so far?
Their first match was against, in the World Cup qualifiers, it was against host Sri Lanka. It was a very good one. They won by 178 runs. But the matches that followed afterwards, they were not so good. They lost to Thailand, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Scotland. The Scotland one was the recent one they played last Friday. They lost by 7 wickets. So that's that.
What about Tanya Ruma and the group? How are they doing as the players themselves rather than the actual the team as a whole?
Oh, they've been doing great. Individual performances, Tanya Ruma, Pauke Siaka, their fielding has been really good. It's just their bowling and the bowling wasn't so great. I think they've lost a lot of their chances, opportunities to win through the bowlings. The bowlings were not so good.
But they're not officially ranked in this tournament, I understand.
No, they're not officially ranked now. The requirement in ICC to be ranked in with the rest of the world, you have to play more than 8 international matches. Now the girls played, the recognized ones there were only 6 matches they played. So yeah, I think with this World Cup, that is World Cup qualifiers, that is something they will build on. They will build on the number of international matches they play. Going into this World Cup qualifiers, The first one obviously was for them to qualify for a World Cup sport. I mean, they are yet to debut. And the other agenda was to get ODI status, one-day international status in the ICC as well. Now, the Barramundis got theirs already. So
They had theirs, I think, given to them late in 2015.
yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that. I think Deepak Patel was really, really excited, the head coach for the Barramundis.
Yes, that also gave them the status to be able to be ranked in the ICC, unlike for the women. So that's that.
All right, thank you guys for that. We'll take our first break now, and on the other side, we'll talk about the biggest issue trending at the moment, the deferral of the PNG Games.
Finally, as Minister, I am very disappointed that these games are not going ahead in March.
Welcome back to the program. And yes, the deferral of the PNG Games is the biggest issue trending at the moment. Rose, Raiko, and Jeremy, both of you were there at the announcement of the deferral by Sports Minister Justin Tichenko.
Yeah, it was a media conference held last week Friday at the Sejongai's indoor arena conference room, and it was the Minister for Sport Justin Tichenko, the CEO for the PNG Sports Foundation Peter Chamalila Jr., as well as Deputy Chairman for the host organizing committee for the 7th PNG Games, Daka Wagai, who is also the Deputy Governor for Western Britain Province, and the three of them were there present to make that announcement.
As Minister, I am very disappointed that these games are not going ahead in March. You media were ringing me and talking to me saying, what's going on? I hear it's deferred again. I was hoping it wouldn't be. And that was what I said to you. It's business as usual. And I told Peter the same thing. We continue for March. We continue for March. But with all these pressing issues and with Mother Nature and other things taking its toll, it's just unfortunate that we have to move it forward. We haven't cancelled it. We just move it to late November, December, which will give time for everybody to be absolutely prepared and ready for the PNG Games in West New Britain in 2017.
The announcement of the deferral from March to later on in November, do you think there are factors there that caused the deferral of the Games? What are some of the factors that caused the deferral of the 7 PNG Games?
Well, I think I'll let Dini Rose answer that because she was over in Kimbe in December, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the obvious ones that he stated was, obviously, first one was the weather condition. Now, Kimbe experiences rain at this time of the year, and that has not permitted the progress of the construction of the remaining 10% of infrastructure. Now, the other one was even the other provinces, their readiness for participation, it's not confirmed. At least 50% did not confirm their readiness. So. The other one is Nivani Limited. The contractors demand to be paid a full 100% before the Games infrastructure completion. They demand that they should be paid the remaining 1.3 million kina. Now, the total expense adds up to about 23 million kina. Most of it has been paid now. Just 1.3 million kina is yet to be paid. Though the government is demanding that they see completion first. When they're satisfied with it, that 1.3 million kina can go to Nivani Limited.
And also there's been some issues with the contractor and the HOC committee on payments that you probably have seen. He's been interviewed and what have you. I want to make this clear on the contractor's statements. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure as far as the HOC committee is concerned, the contractor has been paid for work rendered and work done. You know, we're not going to run away, and the West New Britain government and the HOC committee are not going to run away and not pay him for the outstanding work. It's very, very clear. It's very, very clear that everything is signed, sealed, and delivered, and he will be paid. We just need him to cooperate with the HOC committee and understand the current situations. The National Gaming Controlling Board came on board and gave 5 million kina directly to the contractor. So there should be no excuse of getting the job finished and done.
All right, guys, thank you for the update.
Yeah, well, coming up after the break, we'll have another panel discussion, and this time I'm bringing on Benson Upas, Dennis Tauvasa, and Rocky Iso from the Sunday Chronicle, and we will be talking football. See you on the other side.
It's very important for Papua New Guinea that these two has to come to a compromise somewhere along the way, and we have one football association for Papua New Guinea.
And joining me here tonight on this very special panel discussion on the issues surrounding football in Papua New Guinea. On my left-hand side and nearest to me, I'd like to welcome Rocky Iso from the Sunday Chronicle. Beside him in the center, we have Dennis Tauvasa, Tuivasa Shek to a number of people around the country, and he's with FM Central. And at the far end, Benson Upas from Sports Talk magazine. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here on Sportsing.
Thanks for having us.
Now, obviously for the past month, January, we've seen the news dominated both on radio, television, in the newspapers, online as well. Football is in trouble.
It's in dire trouble. We've got two federations now. We've got the PNGFA, and John Kapi Nato from the Hekari United Club is starting his own FFA. So football is in trouble in the country.
Now, one of the hardest things that has happened, of course, is that as a result of this division between both of those, that it split the country as well.
Yep. Not only has it split the country, it's also split the programs that the PNGFA or the FFA have had in terms of the junior development, the grassroots, women's football, and heading up to the national levels as well too, as well as the national competition as well. Massive effects on those and the fans as well too, who love to come out and watch the soccer.
Benson, over to you. Last week there was the announcement made for the new or the proposed Football Federation of Papua New Guinea. You were there.
Yep.
What did you make of what John Kapi Nato said at that presentation?
Look, one very interesting thing he said was there's a two-part football is taking. And of course, the PNGFA is taking its own path, and FFA is also taking a separate path. But one very, very interesting point that he made was it was his wish to see if these two come together as one. And like my colleague has said, it's very important for Papua New Guinea that these two has to come to a compromise somewhere along the way. And we have one football association for Papua New Guinea. And I believe that's the way football should go, and together we can work and make it happen for the generations to come and the football in Papua New Guinea. We've reached a great height last year, and that has to go, and we can't have this going on, and it has to come to a stop somewhere.
Now, speaking of that compromise, this is what Simon Koema, from the competition manager for the Telecom National Soccer League, had to say regarding that compromise. Let's take a look.
Yes, there is room for dialogue. It's always available. And one must also know that it's a player's interest. So PNGFA is open. NSL is open. I'm available for dialogue.
Now, Telecom National Soccer League competition manager Simon Koema there, he did make mention the players are being affected. And Flem Seritslev did announce this as well, that he would not be considering a number of the players for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, it's sad. If you can't have your best players representing in the upcoming qualifiers, what are we sending over to Russia? Are we sending our second team, our second string side? It's affecting the players, and it's sad, and it's affecting the coach. And, he's guided by PNGFA and what they need him to do. So he has to go along with. I feel for Simon Koima as well, because he's trying to run an NSL competition. Where is David Chun and Dimitri Milan in all of this? It's very sad.
Now, this entire issue came about based on last year's General Congress, which was held in Kimbe, West New Britain Province, I think on the 28th of December, if I recall. There were even calls by Isaac Lupari and also Justin Shchenko, Minister for Sport, that to an extent these elections had been hijacked. Your thoughts on that?
I think the questions have got to be asked about whether the Constitution really does exist or not that governs. Otherwise, everything is just null and void. It's pretty much the same sort of situation with rugby union anyway. Obviously, the minister can't intervene and do anything about it, since the governing body of it is at FIFA level. But having said that, somehow, some way, it's just got to be. They've got to have a body that's got to be in there to come to mediate.
I'm just going to stop you right there, because this is exactly what John Kapi Nato had to say last week, Wednesday, regarding that process. Let's take a look.
To me, how can people do that living in New Zealand and then doing all the things down there, when we should have a committee of ethics or somebody here who can run our issues in this country? But someone living down there is doing all this control and everything and dictating what needs to be done in this country of ours. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, with that, the 12 presidents gave me that endorsement. They're telling me that you have no power. You're doing all things by yourself in the country. They're not here, so they couldn't know where the support is and how the support is going. They only sit down in New Zealand and just send emails and everything up here. So I told the 12 executives, I said, the power you've given to me, vested on me, we will pursue this.
Strong words there from John Kapi Nato. Benson, your thoughts?
Look, again, I will support what he just said, you know. They have to just come up here and sit down and negotiate, you know. You can't, obviously we had what Simon Koima said. He's open, the doors are open for discussion and negotiation, but look, Simon Koima is not the head of PNGFA, you know. Here we have John Kapi Nato heading the other FA. So we need to have the PNGFA President David Chung up here, sit down on a round table, negotiate, probably go back to the books and probably go back to the elections and do it right and proper, democratically, you know.
Because David Chung is the president for the Oceania Football Confederation, that it kind of compromises his position as being, especially when he's also president of PNG Football?
Of course, when you look at the decisions in the last couple of weeks with Ekari, you know, obviously you know, all of us know, and everyone knows that John Kapi Nato is the franchise owner of Ekari, and he's also contending for that president PNGFA position. I mean, he did. And you look at the way it ran, December 28th, you know, it wasn't that democratic, so to say. It was hijacked, like he said. And obviously, with our President FF, David Chung on the chair of our league, obviously had a say or probably influenced the decisions that are happening right now.
Has John Kapi Nato, because he's created the Football Federation of Papua New Guinea and literally split football in the country as a result, did he do the right thing?
Well, he's putting, you know, that's a hard question to answer, Jeremy. He's given a lot to soccer. He's loved the sport. He's a Highlander who's come in and put his money to develop soccer in the country. Now, it's divided all the players. The question the players have to ask themselves is, who do they want to play? Do they want to play for PNGFA and feel the second string side and go represent the country? Or do you want to play against the best club in Papua New Guinea, which is Hekari for 10 decades? So I believe that John Kapi Nato has done the right thing. The direction that the FFA will go remains to be seen. If it's going to be corporatized and made into profit-making entities for all the MAs involved, or federations that have given him his support, congratulations to them. I was speaking to Simon Koima last week, and he told me that PNGFA will always be there. no matter what the new Super League brings. But it remains to be seen where PNGFA will go, where John Kapi, Nato and the FFA will go with this. If we can capitalize on this and get some corporate entities involved, all the more better for those small soccer associations. But at the end of the day, the players have to ask themselves, which federation do they want to play for, the FFA or the PNGFA? Because there's only one FIFA, one governing body, and that's the PNGFA at the moment that they recognize in Papua New Guinea.
Well, coincidentally, this is exactly what Simon Koima had to say regarding what you've just said. Guys, just roll that for us, please.
It's, for me, it's another competition. Okay, one that is recognized by whoever starting it up. I was sanctioned by PNGFA, and NSL is a body set up separately under PNGFA, so we are a legitimate organization.
Final comments. NSL starting. They're hoping registration occurs by this month, next month. FFPNG. Will the quality of football in our highest level competition, the National Soccer League, will it still remain?
For starters, I'm really glad that Simon Koima is very positive and upbeat about what's happening with the National Soccer League. He wants to see it happen. Everybody else wants to see it happen. Unfortunately, there is this division. I guess you could measure it in the successes of the two men right at the very top as well too. When John Kapi Nato, in the short space of time that he's been involved in the soccer, he has just taken this thing to new heights altogether. David Chung, well, we're not really sure of what his story is, but when you look at the man who's created Hikari, taken them to the OFC, taken them to Dubai, started bringing in players from other Pacific countries as well too, that says something, and that lifts our level of football as well.
It's going to be the players and the junior development and everything coming up, but you look at the business groups backing, or the commercial groups backing the associations. That will really bring out the probably the differences between them. And like he said, it will really contribute in the survival of the organization or the association, NSL and the Super League, you know. And given the fact that the standard, it always, you look at the previous games or previous NSL competition, whenever it's an individual club plays Ekari, they lift the standard. Now, if Ekari is going to do that in the new Super League and also try to give competition or try to introduce the way in which they play and all this among the other teams that are competing, there'll definitely going to be a big difference in competition. Now, if you look at the public or the audience that's going to watch the game, I want to pay my money worth watching a quality game than a game that is a bit boring, you know.
Sinupas, Dennis Tovasa, Rocky So, thank you very much for joining us here on Sports.
Thank you.
So I will see you after that.
Welcome back to the program. In this segment, we take a look at surfing, the World Surf League Championships happening in Madang next month, and the preparation by SAPNG. The 2017 Longboard Surfing Championship is just weeks away and is attracting the local businesses' interest on supporting the event. Surfing Association of Papua New Guinea recently made the announcement of another partnership with telecommunication leaders, Telecom PNG Limited, with a sponsorship valued at the 100,000, which will enable Telecom to provide access to video uplink and Wi-Fi for officials and athletes in Tupira. Telecom Chief Executive Officer Michael Donnelly was pleased to support SAPNG to promote surfing and promote services to remote villages.
And the value that surfing brings, particularly to regional and remote areas, because the surf is often in those sorts of locations.
Donnelly says Telecom PNG will have a team on site during the competition to ensure this important global event gets the staging and broadcasting it deserves.
So we are there We think it's a great sport. We think it's a sport that is good for Papua New Guineans. You're well endowed with great surfing breaks, some world-class surfing.
Paradise Foods Limited also took the liberty to sponsor another 100,000, along with a variety of other products.
It's a well-known energy sports drink, and to have that associated with something like surfing, which is high-end energy, pumping waves, that fun, exotic vibes at the beach, it really fits in well with us. And it's really timely that they come on board now, not only to help with beverages and snacks and that on the ground, which we're talking about were really popular at the last championships we held up in Madang, the national titles. But the monetary value, what they're providing to us, is actually really helping us get over the line with delivering this world-class event on site at Tapira.
Paradise Beverages, through the Mountain Dew brand, has the naming rights to an expression session. Apart from the actual competition, which will see the children of Tapira compete against the world's best longboards on cut-out traditional style boards. A display of traditional board shaping using local balsa wood by two world-renowned board shapers Tom Wegner and Brian Bates will be some of the activities happening during the event. Meanwhile, preparation on the ground has been up to speed and is expected to be completed at the end of this month, along with the shipment of surfboards and necessary food supply to the tournament site. The 2017 World Longboard Championship will take place from the 18th to 25th March at the Tapira Surf Resort in Madang Province. The sport of the VA is a relatively new sport in the country, but it's gaining a good reputation and popularity. The turnout of the interested paddlers at the VA Open Day today illustrates the code's growth and success.
We're expecting about 58 paddlers, and this morning we got more than that, so it was good to have all the new and interested paddlers come down and try out.
Participants were given a brief theory session on the sport, then each were interviewed before paddling out in the open waters with instructors on board. Of all of the participants, a good number will be selected and put into vigorous training and coaching sessions.
And this is the practical session. We've had paddlers go out in the canoes, so once they come off, we'll have to sit, the committee has to sit and go through, and we have only 35 spots, so we're not going to get everyone, only the successful ones who get selected, yeah.
The participants paddled in V6 fiberglass canoes, which carry 6 paddlers and rowed 1,000 meters offshore.
Go for like clubs, international clubs like Cairns, Brisbane, Sunshine Coast, Hamilton Island, and then the main event is all about Pacific Games, coming together and then trying to select a team to represent our country. Yeah.
Lately, the paddlers from PNG have been participating in the World Sprints as well.
Yes, last year.
So one thing we would like to achieve is to attend the World Sprints, which is held in Tahiti next year.
The announcement of the final selected 35 will be done on social media and other media sources. The Konidobu Canoe Club is an affiliate of PNG Canoe Association, with particular this event staged at the club level. That's a wrap for tonight's episode. Thank you very much for joining me on the set, guys. Jeremy, then Rose, looking forward to have your company next time around.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that, Shane.
Thank you, viewers. And if you have any queries regarding tonight's discussion, you can find us on MTV Online or visit our Facebook page. Do drop by at Garden City's 2nd floor and ask for one of our sports reporters. We're more than happy to assist you out. Until next time, on behalf of Jeremy, and Denny Rose and I, good night, Papua New Guinea.